welcome back to my channel, and we're gonna have some fighting words. Please like and subscribe the video. So Manny Pacquiao will not be reinstated as a WBA title holder. I made a video previously stating that he was going to be, which was the information at the time saying he was going to be reinstated and that Ugas would get like a lower title or something like that. You know how they like to make this stuff up. However, it's not going to happen. I don't know what happened with the higher-ups, the WBA or whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. As it stands, he will not be reinstated. So what does this mean? It means it's no longer a unification bout. It means that he will have the opportunity to walk out of the arena as a champion, but he's not bringing any belts to the table. Will this change the way Manny Pacquiao fights? No. Manny always gives his all. He's the type of guy, he doesn't know how to do half speed. You know, that's like telling Mike Tyson, if you recall for his fight with Roy Jones recently, and they kept saying exhibition, and Mike was like, you can call it whatever you want. I'm coming to knock his head off. And Roy understood that. So Manny has that same mindset. It's not going to change the way he fights. He's going to come with thunder. I'm not really worried about that at all. Him not showing up to the arena with a belt is not going to change his tenacity in the ring. You know, Manny isn't just fighting Errol Spence. He's definitely fighting Floyd Mayweather in this fight. I mean, Spence is clearly backed by Team Mayweather, and Floyd is not shy in saying that. He went as far as saying that he will be giving Errol Spence a blueprint. You know, a lot of people have messaged me and saying, you know, oh, what can Floyd Mayweather teach Errol Spence? Well, let's see. Floyd Mayweather fought Manny Pacquiao. They fought. Floyd Mayweather came out the victor. So he can definitely teach Errol Spence something. He can say, hey, you know what I did? Let me tell you what I did that made me successful that night. Whether you like the guy or not, he definitely beat the guy, and he definitely can tell this guy, this is how you do it because I've done it. So, you know, a lot of times in boxing, we put our personal feelings into things, and we have to take our personal feelings out of it. This is about skills. Skills pay the bills. This is all about skills. It's not about personal, oh, I love Manny Pacquiao, I love Errol Spence. But the fact of the matter is, and the reality is, Floyd did beat Manny Pacquiao, and Floyd did say he was going to reach out to Errol Spence. And I do know that Errol Spence and Floyd Mayweather have a great relationship. So I seriously doubt now, with this fight approaching, that their relationship is going to be damaged and Errol Spence is not going to listen to Floyd. That's nonsense. Manny is fighting a lot of things, especially, you know, not just with the blueprint thing, but also, you know, oh, he's old and he's too small. You know, Manny has something to prove. Manny always, it's funny, this fight feels like a comeback fight. And Manny's not coming off of a loss, but it feels like a comeback fight. It's like, oh, you're fighting, you know, the boogeyman of the 147-pound division. And on top of that, he's got Floyd Mayweather who's going to give him this special sauce to beat you. And on top of that, you're old. And on top of that, you're small. It literally feels like a comeback fight, even though Manny Pacquiao had one of the most impressive wins in really exciting fights of his career when he fought Keith Thurman. But the overall feel of this fight feels like it's a comeback fight. It's not that. No, but let's just say if it was a comeback fight. Let's just go there for a moment. Manny has had losses. He has. But what happened after those losses? Well, not most, I think all of them he's avenged. The only one he hasn't avenged is like Mayweather. So you can even say, okay, fine, if it feels like a comeback fight and he has all this stuff against him, that's great because Manny Pacquiao does pretty well in comeback fights. And I know you're going to say Marquez, that's true. But I believe he wanted to do another fight. Matter of fact, I know for a fact Manny Pacquiao wanted to avenge that knockout from Marquez. And Marquez was like, dude, I've seen you too many times in the ring. I've seen you 4 times. I don't want to see you a 5th time. It's over. I got the last laugh. I knocked you out. We're done. But outside of that, he does do pretty well when it comes to comeback fights. So let's just say if it is a comeback fight, or a comeback feel. Let me say that because it's not a comeback fight. He has not fought Errol Spence before, but it's the overall tone of a comeback fight. Manny's the type of guy who comes back full steam ahead, and he's not looking back. He's not worried about what happened in the past or none of that. He's coming back full steam ahead, and it's kind of funny. I think that's the reason why Manny brought in Sean Porter for a sparring partner, because you got Floyd Mayweather telling Errol Spence, well, I'm going to give you the blueprint because I beat him. And now Manny brings in Sean Porter. Now, if you recall the fight with Sean Porter and Errol Spence, arguably, Sean Porter would have won that fight had he not have been knocked down, because he was actually doing extremely well in that fight. Earl didn't he didn't stomp on the gas until the latter end of the fight. And it was actually extremely even until the knockdown. So if Floyd wants to say, well, hey, I'm going to give you the blueprint, Earl, Sean Porter could easily say, I'm going to give Manny the blueprint because I was actually winning that fight. I was doing very well in that fight. So hey Manny, this is what I was doing while I was successful in there with Errol Spence. If you do X, Y, and Z, and you do this without getting knocked down, I don't see any reason why you won't come out the victor. So the stakes are definitely higher. I mean, they're bringing in, since he's bringing in, since Earl is bringing in Floyd Mayweather, who I would say is the best boxer of maybe the last 50 years. I might get some flack for that, but I would say that. Manny's bringing in somebody who not only had much success against Errol Spence, but darn near almost won the fight. It was close. It was really close. You're not just bringing in Sean Porter. What if he brings in Kenny Porter, Sean's dad, the person who gave Sean the game plan? Yeah, then the stakes get real high, don't they? So, I don't know. I don't know. This fight just keeps... There's more intrigue that keeps happening to this fight. And I always say, every fight is a story. And I truly believe that. And this story is just adding on chapters. It was already going to be a big fight. Then out of nowhere, Floyd says, I'm going to give you the blueprint, Earl. Then out of nowhere, WBA says, we're taking, you're not going to be reinstated. Okay, so the stakes, title-wise, went down a little bit. But now they just shot back up because you got Sean Porter saying, well, I'm going to help you out. I was successful. If you look at my fight with Earl, I was winning a lot of those rounds. Let me show you what I was doing. Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. And I know Freddie Roach has been dying and eking to get another crack at Mayweather. Now, mind you, Errol Spence is not Floyd Mayweather. They have different gifts and abilities. However, I think the overall consensus is, well, we know he's your boy, and we know he's helping you. Therefore, if we can beat Earl, it's kind of like beating up Floyd in a sense. So it's kind of like, a double jab. So this fight is just taking on more and more intrigue, and I'm loving every second of it, to be honest with you. I cannot wait for this fight. I want to see these game plans. I want to see all these implications, because, it's one thing to say, I'm going to give you something to make you better. But it's something else for you to do it. We can all talk all day, but now you're going to have to show and prove. Can you apply what you learned in class? That's the question. And I think that's the question that I'm just going to leave in this video with. Can both fighters apply what they learned in class on the night of? You tell me what you think down below, and as always, please like and subscribe.